welcome to this week's webinar. I've got the fantastic Maria King, one of the co-founders of Junius, Juices, here with me today, because we're going to do a fantastic educational series talking about the formulation of health and longevity and phytonutrients. Maria, thank you so much for joining me.
Lovely, Sarah. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak about really prevention and why Junius exists. And thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to do that today.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got your presentation here, which you beautifully put together. So shall I scroll down and then we'll start by learning more about yourself?
Lovely. That would be great. So we'll just do the first slide. Thank you.
It's there.
Oh, right. Okay. I actually can't see anything, but okay. Yeah, just a little bit of background. I'm a functional medicine certified, fully certified practitioner. And really, if I can go back and what that actually means, and why I got to this point. But I was working in a very busy office probably 27 years ago, 28 years ago. And what I understood then, my health was really suffering. I had a low mood, basically. I had this type of fatigue that no matter how much I slept, I didn't feel rested. And absolutely. And that was even in my 20s, that was in my 20s, all these things were happening to me. And I decided this can't be normal, So I went on this journey 27 years ago of trying to understand my own health. And if I go back a little bit further, my father actually was an international footballer, but that was in the 50s when there was no money in it. He played for Ireland, but he got what we understood in his early 40s to be motor neuron disease. So we grew up, or we're a family-run business. We grew up in a household where there was a fear about health and the fact that the worst sort of did happen. So that combined with me in my 20s just having this low mood, particularly not feeling rested after sleep, I decided, right, I want to take my health into my own hands and learn and why I was in this position. So I qualified at the Institute of Optimum Nutrition. After that, I did a master's in person-centered nutrition, looking at bioindividuality, and I had some work published in the Scottish medical journals then. And then from there, I studied at the Institute and fully certified the Institute of Functional Medicine in the US. And there are not that many of us who are actually not members, but fully certified. I'm one of those people. Wow. And really what functional medicine does, it looks at prevention. It is the science of prevention rather than the science of disease. And the current paradigm of health is very much an obsession with the disease outcome. Like, oh, I'm going to get Alzheimer's. We're being told 1 in 3 of us, and that's rising, will get cancer. So we have health is very commercialized around the sale of pharmaceutical and disease outcome. But what I understood on my 27-year journey is that we need to turn around and look down the funnel of prevention. Where does it go wrong at root level? And Sarah, I have a lovely image of a tree I'm not quite seeing the presentation, but okay. So if we were to liken health to a tree, as an analogy only, the current paradigm of health is if that tree, the leaf on that tree goes brown, we currently either paint it green, the leaf in a proverbial sense, or we remove it. And that is called a pill for an ill. So that's where we're sitting currently. But at functional medicine, we look at the root cause. Where are the disturbances deep down in a metabolic level to that are disturbed early on, which eventually become a disease outcome. Say, for instance, a cancer might take 9 years, 12 years to actually become a named disease state. So we have this amazing opportunity for lifestyle and the impact of lifestyle. And really, if we look at, say, for instance, the blue zone, these are the populations around the world which live the longest. And I
Mm.
mean living the longest in a healthy way rather than the last part, particularly of your life, being not of good standard.
Mm.
There are 11 groups in the world, all over the world. I believe Singapore has been recently added to that list in the last year. And all of these people have communities, even though they're globally not connected, they've things in common, and that would be the cornerstone is a whole food diet. Now, what do we mean by whole food? Whole food is where it is not processed. It is in its natural state. We have that is always the cornerstone, because of course our immune systems and our cells and our body have to come from somewhere. It comes from our food and what we eat. So we always believe that what is on your plate and what you eat is the raw material for your body. Of course, we have to build in good hydration, excellent restful sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, community and relationships. All these things are together, all make up the a balance and a good supporting a good health outcome. So really what we're looking at is the functional medicine and the systems. So looking at the systems in the body, all those systems have to be in balance for us to thrive and for us to, to be supportive of a good health outcome. So that is the stance on functional medicine. But really, what happened when I was studying, I just felt, my God, this is quite elite, and it wouldn't have helped my father, who wouldn't have had the time nor the money to go to a clinic, for instance, maybe in Harley Street, or So I felt, what could we produce that give us the ability to share in bite-sized and applicable way the science of prevention? And that was really why Junius was launched. And that was before COVID. Actually, we've been going for quite a long time now. It's a family business, and what we do at Junius is we use the vehicle of our drinks to supply bite-sized information about prevention in a very applicable way.
That
So,
I love that. That's so
yes,
realize that. That's brilliant.
yeah. So really, we are we're churning out information which is science-backed,
Yeah.
but doing it with a real food approach. And that was the junction. Because what I find, if you Google, I know from my health groups that one particular group gets over 1 million hits online a month asking for what is good for, how can I prevent,
Mm-hmm.
how can I prevent cancer, what is good for Alzheimer's, what is good to prevent, all of
Yeah.
these, is good for depression. This is all happening in my world. And what I understand in the hotel world, I believe there has to be a mismatch between front desk experience and the hotel and what people I know are looking for, before they come to the hotel. You're looking for an added bonus of a health
Yeah.
bonus in visiting that hotel. And that's what we're trying to do. Junius is trying to be the interlude between preventative medicine and the guest journey, the guest experience.
I think that's quite interesting because people do go to spa, they go because they want to get healthy, but then they go and have these meals that are very indulgent. They aren't, very complex foods and stuff. Whereas actually having a juice, having a way of learning about functional medicine that's accessible is more easy than trying to do a whole load of education at one point.
Absolutely. And what we also get the opportunity, it becomes like a guest ritual, where juices can be served pre and post treatment, creating a moment of pause, reflection, and also, most importantly, from my point of view, um, luxury nourishment for the body. I'm passionate about
Mm.
the body being nourished at root level. It has to come from food. So that's our segue into what we're trying to do here. And of course, we do staff training, advising on treatment, juice pairing, and the health benefits of we're able to train the staff on health benefits of our products. So then it gives the experience of the guest in the spa. It has more depth to it,
Mm.
effectively.
Yeah, I love this tree image. I'd never thought about it as the roots and the leaves, and the disease medicine treatment paradigm is treating the leaves, not looking at the roots and what you do at the roots. So I love this slide with that picture on it. It seems very relevant.
Exactly, and we do, it's that thing about we name that leaf as a proverbial leaf as a an arthritis or depression or a inflammatory IBS or whatever, because what in a proverbial sense, because what I understand at studying functional medicine, a lot of these diseases which have a name on them
Mm.
start with similar origin of imbalance at deep biochemical level. So that is the most interesting thing I would say I have learned on my journey in the last 27 years. But say, for instance, I have a genetic SNP. So I have a gene I'd rather not have, but that's fine because simply diet can override it. This is an example of having simple knowledge of biochemistry, and is that I have the MTHFR gene. So that's the name is irrelevant basically, but what it means is, say for instance, this room was a factory today, and
Mm.
in that factory there were lots of people coming in and putting bolts. Say it was a car factory, tightening up the bolts on a certain part of the car manufacture. It means to have this particular gene that on that day that person did not turn up to work. So that analogy, and the bolt didn't get tightened tight enough. But I know through my knowledge, I'm also a nutrigenetic counsellor, that if I take green leafy vegetables, and that's why we've devised our spa range. I did that for myself, actually. It's that folate, active folate
Mm.
in those green leafy overrides the problem with that person not coming into work and tightening it up.
Mm. Okay.
So it's, often a lot of things can be brought back into balance by simple lifestyle measure. And one
Mm.
thing that I would see in the wellness industry, there's an awful lot of buzzwords. And we
Mhm.
need to simplify that and take it back to root level, because the buzzwords are changeable. If I could just go back a little bit, sort of 10 years ago, Paula and I, my sister, we did health focus groups. So
Mm.
we went into the city of London, and we actually rented a room in the Shard, and we invited, I worked in the corporate world before, invited people from the HR industry in, and to say, what is it you would need to for food? What's missing? And
Mm.
the big thing that came back was people were really sick of what was good for you today is no longer good for you tomorrow scenario.
Yeah, very common. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was the big feedback we got. So we've said, well, if we can put science behind what the product was in that bottle, we have overridden the problem of what is good for you today isn't good for you
Mm.
tomorrow, because it's science backed.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's what people want. So there's so many things out there. There's so much confusion. We've got talking about ultra high processed foods and what's that? Well, that's anything made with more than 5 ingredients. It's people have too many buzzwords and it's becoming too complex. It's becoming
I
way
think
too
so, and people are very confused, and um, they're starting to really understand that promises are not holding up to the scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
And things like clean, detox, veganism, veg, it's superfood. People are fatigued with these words now, and that's why we are very stringent on why we put things and work with certain ingredients. So we it stands the test of time effectively, and we come off sort of luxury, marketing spin as well. We don't have to do that, or slogans, because the food in there speaks for itself effectively. It's not about us, it's about the broccoli, it's about the kale and why we put it in there. And that's what people really want to know. They want to engage with, oh, I have taken folate rich food today. I have taken food which helps detoxify my liver, and that's particularly important in around the menopause and estrogen, health of the estrogen, and that, But if I were just to go back, what has really struck me on my journey of learning is, first of all, we have bio-individuality, which means that if we had 100 people in this room today, everyone has different nutritional needs. And that has been really studied on the identical twin trials. So what they do is they take identical twins, and so their genetics are the same, and one twin might go on and get a certain disease and the other doesn't. So what is the relevance of that science? Well, the relevance of that is that our environment is very, very important. We might have the gene, so we're loading the gun effectively, but if the triggers aren't there, the environmental issues, that gene can remain silent. So effectively, having the MTHFR gene as I do means I have a bigger chance of tumor, cancer, but I know my weakness in my metabolism, or one of them, is that I can't actively make folic acid active. So therefore I take green leafy, because I get that in the with the food in our spa, our green leafy vegetables, and therefore my gene remains silent. But that means health is dynamic, because you could have two twins and one does the lifestyle measure, they take green leafy every day, so the gene is silent, and the other might go on and get a tumor type scenario because they're not understanding that.
Okay, that's interesting that they can tell that. And then on the next slide, you talk about balanced meals for blood sugar. So how does that work?
Well, when I went back, Sarah, when I was talking about, we look at the root level, what's going on at the preventative level, where are the disturbances happening? So what we find with a lot of chronic lifestyle disease, and chronic lifestyle disease are diabetes, depression, obesity, Alzheimer's, and cancer. These are, they were not highly reported. If you look at Victorian doctors' notes, the doctors in Victorian times had to physically write out the appointments, and they had to report what they were seeing in front of them. So these type of diseases are a relatively new phenomenon. So what we understand when we look at a lot of the data behind these diseases, that there's disturbance at the insulin level. There is a lot of insulin resistance. So really, the body only likes a teaspoon of sugar in it at any one time. Most of the glucose in our body's used for the brain activity. But with the modern day diets, we see yo-yo of the insulin resistance, or the insulin is up and down all the time, people snacking in between meals, not eating a balanced diet. And if we can liken insulin to like an elastic band, when we keep pulling it, as we do with our modern day diet, it loses its ability to be nimble or to be sensitive. So we need to look at what a plate of food looks like, and is it helping our insulin to remain stable. And of course, what I notice, particularly in the gym world, there is a lot of protein, which is in drinks, and we're overloading with protein, and we need good amounts of protein with every meal, particularly breakfast time, and that helps with that elastic band scenario, the insulin, to keep it stable. And of course, we need healthy fats, which are fish, particularly smash, we say, sardines, mackerel, herring, salmon. Those type of oily fish are really important. But really, where my interest is around the phytonutrients, the colourful part of the plants, because essential, we'll know from GCSE that essential food types are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, fibre, and hydration. But really, there's a whole science behind the phytonutrients coming through now, and that is to do with chronic lifestyle disease, because what we understand is a lot of these chronic lifestyle diseases start with inflammation. And what is inflammation? Well, inflammation is, if I had a fire lit in this room today and a spark were to jump out, that spark could, if the terrain in the body is not in good condition, it could get bigger, it could amplify its catch fire effectively. But the antioxidants are things that come in on a proverbial sense and blow out that spark, or dampen it down. It's like a fire blanket. So we're seeing a lot more information coming through about the colourful part of the plant and the health benefits. So what we have to understand, that the colour in the plant protects the plant and allows the plant to thrive in its environment. But nature is so clever. When we eat or drink the phytonutrients, we transfer the immune benefits to ourselves.
Wow. Wow.
So this is the color also on the plate is very, very important. So we need to be getting every day, how do we get color into our diet? And because the nutrients in the plants and the herbs and the spices, they speak to our DNA. They give the nature is so dense and so intelligent that it gives messaging out to our DNA to remain healthy and keeping a very good terrain, our internal environment in our body stable.
Yeah, I think colourful food is always welcome, isn't it? I always feel brighter and healthier when I've eaten something that's colourful, like carrots and things like that. When they're on your plate, they just make you feel good looking at them rather than a beige plate of food. But then obviously when you eat them, you get those phytonutrients and that colour into your body as well. And I think people are really keen on inflammation and reducing inflammation. People are talking a lot about the vagus nerve and, what stress can be because you've got inflammation in your body on your vagus nerve and things. I think it's about explaining that, and then how the food you eat can help you not have inflammation. And your fire analogy was brilliant.
Yes, I really enjoy giving analogy, and that's really what Junius that we're trying to really develop this situation where health information, rather than being commercialized, we are able, because no one can patent food. This is the situation. Nobody owns broccoli, nobody owns carrots. So there's a real diversion away from a whole food diet for commercial reasons. And also for us, we have a shorter shelf life. We see a lot of drinks and food which might have a 18-month, 2-year shelf life, but that's because the active part of those phytonutrients have been removed. Shelf life, when you pasteurize things, it kills the enzymes, and that DNA noise and that knowledge within the cell does not survive through pasteurization. So that was the other thing to get involved with the food industry. We really went down a very dense path of understanding process. And if you went to the trouble to produce something like Junius, was it fresh? Was it excellent? Was it health enhancing or not? So we use a process called HPP. And what HPP is, it takes our phytonutrients, our drinks, for a tiny second down to extreme pressure, and what that pressure does, it kills pathogens, but the living part of the plant remains untouched. So you're getting the same biological value as if it was picked there and then. So that was also very important for us, that we weren't
juice.
pasteurizing. But we often get asked about our shelf life, but it's a proof of our purity and our benefit to the health, and that's really what we're interested in.
So you take the fruit, the vegetables, you create the juice, and then you provide it extreme pressure, just so that I can understand behind the science. So it makes it extreme pressure, and it takes it from a juice that might be fresh in a room a day or so, and it extends the life enough that you can then bottle and sell it. Is that right?
That's it. So we get 12 days shelf life. But what we do with some of our accounts, that, you know, we pulse our delivery. So of course there's always going to be, oh, well, the shelf life isn't long enough, but we wouldn't do what we did if we pasteurized it. So that's the answer to that. But on the logistics level, Paul is the logistics brain behind our business, because really our business is quite a dense logistic operation. But we pulse orders through, so we might do obviously day 1 and then day 3, day 5. So we do smaller volume often, so that you're always hitting the shelf life, the benefit of the shelf life without waste.
I've got you. And so that, and I've got a juice here. The pressurizing happens in the bottle, is that right? Or does that happen before the bottle?
In the bottle. So of
I don't have
course,
some actually. I'm going to open mine. I've been looking at it wanting to open it. I'm going to open it.
of course, you can't HPP put pressure onto glass. And what we're increasingly finding in the world of sustainability is that glass has a lot of processes after, which make it not that sustainable either. But we do get asked a lot about plastic, but HPP is a plastic scenario, and but we do our very, very best, and we wish HPP, we had another way of using glass there, but we can't because of the pressure. But our sustainability credentials are as great as we can make them. We're B Corp certified corporation in our production side, aerated energy and solar powered facility, handcrafted in the UK, organic, small batch, and 35% less plastic than convention in the industry. And our delivery is fully curbside recyclable. So we're always working on that side to make that better. But we do deliver in plastic. But what we find in some of our accounts, that they serve in a beautiful, like, crystal glass, and that they at a touch point, it's glass via the property we're working with.
I think it's the balance though, isn't it? It's like you're saying, you've got these beautiful plants and fruits, and who have all this amazing nutrients that they can offer, and that sort of thing. And actually, if you do pasteurize and kill the important part of the plant, then you've got to balance that off, I guess, with what you do, and with the kind of the way that you then pressurize it and things like that. I guess it's a trade-off, isn't it? But you've kept that as balanced as possible by doing all of the other sustainability practices too.
And what was very interesting, probably about 25 years ago, I was in Florida on holiday, and it sort of got me thinking. I was having a cocktail down at some marina or whatever, and I was looking at the flamingos, and during the day, the flamingos were in a beautiful pink color. And
Mm.
as we sat sort of drinking that cocktail, as the day and evening came closer to the end, the flamingos went white. And so that really is the beauty of science and phytonutrients in action, because it's the pink color that protects the flamingo against the sun. It is the ultimate phytonutrient, and we're seeing a lot of evidence now of that particular phytonutrient, xanthocyanin. It's very protective against our own eyesight and for human sight. So that was, if I can think back in my 20s, that was nature at its was most elegant form, to physically sit and see nature working and acting to protect the species. So that's why we also need phytonutrients. They communicate, they are anti-inflammatory. And how can we increase the phytonutrients? Well, at least 2 meals per day. Fill half your plate with dark green leafy or other colourful plants like raw salads, cooked vegetables, green, what colours? Greens, reds, oranges, yellow, purple, whites, brown being chocolate, of course. Onions are white. This is the science that I study all the time, the science of the living part of the plant, and they're a rainbow of colour. So we also need to drink the rainbow. It's another way of getting these beautifully protective nutrients into our body. Way more than that. And the if we were hitting the 5 a day was beneficial, we would not be seeing the cancer rates and the dementia rates that we are seeing now. So it doesn't even touch the sides. And we also have to understand that there's a lot of commercialism around where to be on statins and to um, be on these drugs. There's another industry making money out of us, and I'm very critical of that. But really, how do you get 20 a day? Well, it could be herbs and spices, a pinch of cloves, a pinch of, organic madras. These are all knowledge to the body. The body uses these to help bring inflammation down and to keep these chronic lifestyle diseases at bay. So 5 doesn't touch it. And that was another reason why I got into the phytonutrient rich drinks. I understood that it was a way with the balanced meal how to increase from that 5 a day to pull it up. Absolutely, yes. And yes, and it was interesting the time a few years back there was like a nuclear fallout in Japan. I was in Japan not long after that, and the government at that time were advising people who were within a big radius of that to eat something like 35 servings a day. And they have a very low chronic lifestyle disease outcome. So food is very, very powerful. Well, we're looking at experiential complements to, say, for instance, therapist pairing. So each treatment can be matched to a Junius blend. Say, for instance, our Zen is anti-inflammatory. It's got 35 grams of turmeric root. So we can discuss around the guest journey and the treatment, further enhancing what that treatment can give you. And of course, the functional medicine isn't a buzzword, it's the science of prevention, but you have the affiliation then, a spa with a functional medicine purely by taking a delicious drink. So that's another credential that we're very proud of. And of course, the guest ritual, you know, pre and post treatment, it becomes you know, luxury nutrition is always greatly valued by many and increasingly many people. So you have the ability to further enhance the conversation around the particular treatment in the spa. Operational ease, because we deliver fresh, organic, and the nutrients are all living. The staff and the therapists don't have to prepare these treatments. Sorry, not these treatments, these refreshments. It's already done because of Junius being available, and then upselling. We can integrate it into the pricing of the spa treatment, and therefore you've got additional revenue through retail via our drinks. And of course, most importantly to me is the opportunity for education and experience around that education. And that's what we're really very proud of. So it is a simple but transformative touch point. And the guests, we believe, are more interested in returning because there is I know through my health groups, there's a real hunger for more information around prevention. And even though we're going on a lot about sustainability, everywhere we look at sustainability, but we feel there are not enough people talking about what can we do to reduce these chronic lifestyle diseases. And it's that measure about the use of plastic, but also live nutrition going into the body without the enzymes being destroyed by pasteurization. So it's a human environmental onward story that we deal with here. That's We've won so many awards. We've won, this one's a double, Great Taste double, or maybe treble winner on taste. But um, I will always say that whenever we have three types of estrogen, and one type of estrogen we need more of, it's more supportive of a healthy health outcome. So this has been formulated with the folate. It's got the parsley, the kale, and the broccoli for that, to be supportive of a beneficial of balancing good estrogen levels. So there's a story to be told around the to extend the treatment. Absolutely, and the spa juice is all about detoxification and supporting the liver. So naturally, those type of foods tend to be on the bitter side because we need that to flush and support the gallbladder and give it that push to get and to detoxify and keep that part of the digestive system active. But yes, no, thank you very much for that comment. I really appreciate it, Sarah. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, Sarah, and the invite. I appreciate it. Thank you.